guys, DJ here. I'm signing back on to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. We're at our day out in court, and I think Maya escaped at the end of the last episode, so we might be in the clear, but still, this guy's innocent. So we're gonna, even if we didn't have Maya's life on the line, you know, we'd still defend him, I'd like to think. Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way! That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. Mountain of evidence? I'm certain there's someone out there who's trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer. Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Oh, hey Mia. Mia. We must get a complete acquittal today. I know. But I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's, either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning the case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. It's him. This is Wright. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how should we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest if you please. Wait! Kidnapper sent me a present. Mr. Lawyer dude? Who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? I am not Pinocchio. On Karma? Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Engard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. On Karma? I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor, please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... And this morning... What?! Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What?! Shot?! Somehow. I think this is the present that man was talking about. Oh my fucking god! His present! Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, he would be to your advantage. This is totally insane! Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Whew. I thought he'd show up. Hey, Edgy. Your Honor. Due to the circumstances, Miss Francisca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready. Naturally. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing Oh. Literally, like father likes daughter in this case. He was shot in the shoulder too. Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ongard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. I'm honestly actually really happy to see Edgeworth in the prosecution's chair again. There's gonna be another battle. Witness your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir! Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facts of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room. Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant went alone to their rooms, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. Ceremony started at 6 p.m., ended around 8 p.m., and there was a short break. Special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later, and that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, Detective. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? She's the defendant Matt Ongard's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir. Oh, so she's a pretty... That shouldn't matter. Judge, keep your beard from getting ruffled, okay? I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. Ongard. After visiting his room, she went next to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir. I see. And that's when she found the victim's body. The cause of death? Wasn't it because Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. You're not exactly a master detective, Gumshoe. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention will be drawn here to this bandana. Banana? No, bandana! His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. So was he suffocated and then stabbed? But why was he stabbed? Ah, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. then what about the knife? Seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Strangled with the scarf and then stabbed with the knife. And why did you think that? Talking about the guitar key. Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but... But? The only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory, then. But where is the guitar, though? The guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well, then where was it? Why carry around an empty guitar case if you're the frickin' Jammin' Ninja? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Corrida, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt on guard? Because there was no reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edward's back in full swing. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Matt on guard and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. They thought the other guy was in his way. That's more than enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. On Guard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. I think it would have been one of the knives used during dinner, because they were eating. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Gatewater is engraved. And there's this button. That was found in a defendant's clothes, was it? And this button is also covered in blood. Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? Ripped from the costume, covered in Corrida's blood, found in On Guard's hakama. This is... All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Face it, Phoenix, you're glad to have him back too. But in terms of popularity, Mr. On Guard won, did he not? Yeah. But you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corrida was always one step behind Mr. On Guard and everything. This year, it seemed like he'd finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corrida lost the Grand Prix in the end. That's too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. On Guard was beating Mr. Corrida in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. which means he had no motive to kill at all. Yes, I quite agree. Well, Detective? It's not... well... I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive. Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. No, not you too! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, that's... I look forward to your pension negotiations. No! Oh god, poor Gumshoe. Now, Detective, let's continue with the testimony. No, my poor pension too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? Do you have any proof that the button belonged to the victim? Huh? What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off the Jabba Ninja's costume. Hmm? But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterward. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir! Alright, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread with the costume, with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match. Yeah, that's it! They're a perfect match, pal! That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. When was this button found? Very soon after the body was found. We rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corda. And then we did a search on the mall. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder. The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what's he trying to say about me here? The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. How are the fingerprints arranged on the knife? What do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Oh, we didn't actually do that. I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless. Were you paying attention to the testimony, right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There was no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So is the defendant the owner of this knife, then? He bought the knife for the crime, which makes it premeditated murder, but it has Gatewater on... How do you buy the hotels? There's no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Sorry, pal. This is some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Well, this is not good. If the prosecution could prove this was a premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix? Yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. Button covered in the victim's blood, and the knife with Enguarde's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge were more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Not before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. So let's find the weakness in this testimony, no matter how small it may be. Okay, Phoenix? But it's... the knife says Gatewater. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument that this was premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Oh? take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about. It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name somewhere before. That's the hotel. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is the hotel's property. There's no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this. I didn't... Oh. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corda's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. There's a knife and a fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ongard. Especially what was on top of his table. There's something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ongard's knife was missing. Mr. Ongard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth! Absolutely brilliant! A brilliantly clear deduction. Seems like after that is planned from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps. I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of Your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well... Phoenix? The judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, my gavel of his will be ringing out to the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? Do I? Do I? It's not the suicide shit. It wouldn't be the tomato juice. Would it be the No, it wouldn't be the camera. But it wouldn't be the tabloid either. Oh boy. Hall, corridor, on guard, lobby. Oh boy. This is crazy. There's one piece of evidence to no. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. Something that this court is yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I have given you one chance, and only one. What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. You may now present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court? This is crazy? This is a wine glass, is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. Oh yeah. The vase was broken, his makeup all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Yes, I see your point. However, this glass that's sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else is the wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say? Oh, well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there's no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? Honestly? There's no way. She probably would have, she is still a human being. I have no doubt she would have full-on panicked. If I appear weak here, the trial's over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. Just might fall for it. If you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? And you're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then, of course it's been thoroughly inspected. For fingerprints. Fingerprints. There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? And they were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? And that is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Now you see, Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I've come to discover. Wait a second. Mr. Edgeworth, I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Are you sure about this? Because, no doubt it's, your biggest fan. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Gotcha! I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier. Oh, Edgy boy, it's been, what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet? It was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand. I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even the things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Shush! I'm talking to my dear Edgy right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps! Yes, madam. Have you looked in a mirror? You look older than he does. No, please! By all means, interrupt her! Please! Anyway, witness, your testimony, please. It's true what they say, that youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. This is correct, Miss Oldbag. It was a great job being able to see my dearie one. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle. Oh, you are cheating on Edgeworth. You mean you were a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that on guard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. "21? 21? They're both the same age? 25? They're both the same damn age, you dumb bitch! I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida. But those two were the same age. Yeah, see? He knows. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. I'm telling you, Edgeworth, you should have waited. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. There was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Ungard. Matt Ungard! He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. So Mr. Ungard came out of the victim's room. See, it has to be him! He's a murderer! I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I don't know if I want to. Even Edgeworth knows your testimony is absolutely useless. Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night? The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help. I'll have you know. It was for that lead-headed samurai show. Show. I even took out a few of the nails. Oh, so you were sabotaging. Wonderful. How many crimes... Actually, no. That's not... One of them isn't even really a crime. It's just flat-out dereliction of fucking duty. It's not a crime. In normal employment, that's just gonna get you fired. But sabotage? Ooh, I think there may be a fine at least. Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on. Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little. That's when you went to hang around the victim's door? Something you were interested in. And just what was that? It's not some little thing I could just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. Ah, and Edgipoo, of course. Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But it should prove relevant. But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to our testimony later. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now. And the witness stay in the... She wanted to find out about that little affair. Let's keep pressing for now. Oh? Would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corridor's room? I have no idea. I wasn't born, so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. Yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct? Who in the world was that? I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room. It was... He was... Yes, he was. I'm too scared. I can't... Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Francisca's whip right now. I'm sure even Edgy would want that. Well, I guess I can tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway. You saw my client. Are you sure about that? Yesy! Really? Annoying brat! When I say I saw someone, I saw that person! Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Because it is. This is a repeat powers. Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Please tell the court about the man's face in more detail. You don't need to tell me to tell you about his face. That soft, gentle look in his eyes and effeminate lips. You sure you don't got anything for on guard? His red eye covered by his silky hair, his sparkling, shining teeth. His teeth were shining? Well, he's shining all around in this week's pinup poster, dearie. This week's pinup? Why do you... I mean... I don't care how he looks in this week's issue. Please stay with what you saw that night. What? On guard's face is the same, no matter where it is. You know, you whippersnapper. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just not important or relevant in any way? No. No. Not this one. There were 3 choices. Okay. Honestly? Let's try the clothes. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters. But it does. No, what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing! What thing? That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket. It was found in his Hakama. Wasn't he in costume the whole time? He was wearing that at the detention center, too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. You got issues you need to work out? Talk to a therapist. Although I think that therapist would then need the therapist. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this important? Yeah, this was. Because the button, this was found in the Hakama. Not his jacket. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, a request to what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where you're going with this. Alright, witness, please. Oh well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must... You badmouth anyone you get the chance to. Oh my god. Now, this right here was found in the Hakama. Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? It's button number 2 on the Gem and Ninja's comp. Damn, you are obsessed with this boy. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it with a single glance. Give it here! Give it here! If you don't give it here, if you don't give it to me, I will punish you with this! Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. The button was discovered on Mr. Engarde's body during a full-body search. See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was that rascal Engarde. It was caught up in the pleats of his Nickel Samurai Hakama pants. See? See? And Engarde is the Nickel Samurai! Witness! Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Engarde, was wearing his usual racing jacket? Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear! If I wore the trendiest... And there she goes. Alright, time for a drink. This is the longest one in this case. I was able to take a drink and she was still going. Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Engarde, the man, but Mr. Engarde, the Nickel Samurai. Well, when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Pooh, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Engarde. Engarde. Yes, now I remember. Just the same as you did with powers? I'm never letting that go. You're a disgrace. The Nickel Samurai, that's right. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He was wearing... Oh my... I hate this bitch! He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn that nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor one. Where is the blood on the hakama then? Is there blood on a costume? Point it out, please, because just that button is not enough. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume. What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy thinking such rude little things. I mean... Lest we remember a year ago with the Powers case. It was someone else in the Steel Samurai costume. How senile are you? But the possibility does exist. Ah, Jonas, today. I told you, there's no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so. And what I say is the truth. At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. I don't know if I want to. Because it's blatantly obvious. Even Edgeworth knows. Would you please get on with your testimony? Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? Bitch, I'm giving you what you're given. I'm returning what you're given here, okay? My usefulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. What usefulness? You're more ancient than the judge. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs. What? I'm not... All I can hear in my mind is nails on the chalkboard, and I figured that's what her singing voice would be. She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears. Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket? Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you'll be good and just stick to the facts. Okay! You promise, right? Alright, I'll be sending you the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long, you said he was wearing his racing jacket and now he's not. Not too long ago. Then let me ask you this. When you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public court. So what? See? And look at what you are now! You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you? Well, what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past. Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies? The moment she stepped in. All that matters is that man was inside that costume. Isn't that enough? Give me a second. I'll turn off that ding. I'll figure it out after I'm done recording. For now, that little ding is going to be there. Just to let you know, I literally got an achievement for pressing Oldbag's claim that it was the Nickel Samurai I saw. That's what I got an achievement for. Whoopee. And why would that be? That way no one can see his face, of course. But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more. You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say. Isn't that what you're always doing to me? I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume. He had to go to that post-ceremony show. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show? Well, the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing. And that included the Jamming Ninja. Of course it included him! That's why when OnGuard came out of Dear Juan's room, I didn't give a second thought. I see. Well, anyway. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai. As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one. No, I don't. Because he was strangled and then stabbed after he was dead. There is a contradiction in your testimony. It's sitting in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. Well, I'll have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. Stabbing. Strangled, then stabbed. What? Excuse me? Hello? Bitch. Well, we don't have... like... No, it's not the suicide thing. This was found in the Hakama. It's not really... Okay. I think I see the problem here. Yeah, I see the problem here. You would have to be extremely fucking careless to leave his fingerprints on the damn murder weapon. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. I won't work. I won't work either. My brain is pretty much fucking fried after dealing with this old woman. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to the case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at! What are we driving at? In whose car are we driving? If Mr. OnGuard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Is he just in a literal full-body costume? Gloves with what? That's not body paint? Well, I know the face wouldn't be body paint. That would be a mask. But the rest of the stuff isn't body paint? Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as a nickel samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. They're not on good terms. I can't see Juan just flat out having a civil conversation with the man. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with his theory? Yes. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Angard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. I mean... honest to God, he had to be an idiot to just let his fingerprints be put all over the damn thing. This knife. This was used by Mr. Angard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corda. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order! Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame Matt Angard. It's to frame my client, Mr. Angard, of course. To frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the nickel samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness! Oh, he's pissed again. This is a fucking repeat of Power's case. Looks like I've made your life a teeny tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo? Your entire existence makes things harder. Witness, did you or did you not really see the nickel samurai? Well, I guess I first I might have forgotten, but... You're saying you mixed up Mr. Angard with the nickel samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the nickel samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the nickel samurai. Alright then. Who were you waiting around for then? That's top secret to anyone outside of security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Cord. Am I a correct witness? The way you think, you're a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. Maybe... Phoenix, maybe the Oldbag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting around for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Miss Andrews. Because personally, I think it's because of the frickin' scandal thing. Who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Onguard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is... Huh, I see. Judge seems to be really into the article, if it can call such a thing. Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's Adrian Andrews? Without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. One hard. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then. Witness? What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course. This is... Didn't you do the same thing last year? I'm beyond done with this woman. I was beyond done when she first showed up. In the Steel Samurai case. But now, I am even more done. I am doner than a well-done steak. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready. This is gonna take the wind out of you youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old. That Onguard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor one by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with... I'm done. I'm done. Nope. 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 Can't with this woman. I'm done. Can't with this woman. I'm done. Alright, let's continue on with the shit show. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet. You, me, the judge, Edgeworth, and everyone else in the audience. Everyone in the audience knows about this. The defendant sent his manager. Oh my god. The defendant sent his manager. What a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And that isn't the... And there isn't... And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Well, true. To some degree, depending on the situation. Yes. Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter and found that the truth behind the article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So this means I have to smash the rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Do I have to? Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right. Guard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth. Well, see how saying goes. Gotta burn old bags of fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander. But it's true. That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss A.A. But the name of the magazine this came from is Gossipland. What? Are you saying that gossip is all just a pack of lies? What do you know? I suppose next you'll swear that the news is 100% truth. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip. Yes, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright. When did I do anything like that? Anyway, Unguard will never get me to say touche. A scandal? What do you mean by that? You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days? No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much. Well, that Ungothard, he could own a monopoly on popularity. You don't have any proof that Mr. Enguarde did any such thing. You must be suffering from shock. The shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right. You're right. I can't do anything. But boy, do I wish I could do something about you. Mood. Alright then, Sonny, show me what you've got. Can you show me proof that Enguarde didn't bear any ill will towards Juan? I am so beyond done with this woman. This is top secret. So how the hell did you know about it? Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet. If that's true, then how do you know the secret information? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret! Even if you drilled a hole into my brain, you'll never find out! How in the world did that old bag get such a secret piece of information? Hey, Lotta! Think I know who took your camera. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that! Witness! I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire secret info, isn't it? Take that! The investigative photographer Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her outrageous impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless? That's it. That's the note. No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy. Then you're the one who took Miss Hart's note. I'm a huge fan of wands, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil on guard. She says so herself. On guard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. It's true! You believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before. You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Well, it's only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just this once. She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? No. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct? Stole? Why don't you just listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from a terrible, lonely trash can. That's all. You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again? Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that note is the only thing you stole that night. Again, found out who stole your camera. Miss Oldbag, that note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared on me. Why? Witness! What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too. Looks like you found me out again, Sunny. Is this the camera you're looking for? That's... What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. I love the quotations around that. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Slimeback Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she'd taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. Bailiff, check the camera's photos. Hurry. We must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to the case. Please present it to the court. Oh my god, it is deja vu. I don't think the samurai's costume would be so loose-fitting. Yeah? This is the Nickel Samurai. See? I told you! That's the guy I saw! This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? And this photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Ungard clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that's the case, then this Nickel Samurai is the defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? This photo really is decisive, then we're done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, then I put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took, there's something strange with it. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please, look at the photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. Where in the heck did she take this photo from, anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange? This? I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. And? What does that mean? The costumed person in this photo could not have been Mr. Enguarde. What's the meaning of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate. With actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks. You can see his socks. Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding up his hakama just to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself. As if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Enguarde, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you've proven that this person inside this costume is not Matt Enguarde. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who is the person in the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah. Why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who's the person in this photograph? I mean... no other person I can think of. It's gotta be Andrews. Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it's none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. Enguarde's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Enguarde that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Enguarde's fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used as a murder weapon? Why don't you just say what it is you want, right? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order! 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 It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright. This is it. This is kind of bad for us. What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day? Dead! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya... Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. There's nothing I can do. To do something, the trial must go on. I don't have anything left. No evidence, no nothing. Now then, court will adjourn for I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. And what do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Adrian Andrews is all. Happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She's the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man? Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle was far from over. Exactly. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. I'm glad I'm done with that. We'll continue this in the next episode. Till then, I'm signing off.